Hi everyone, I just wanted to talk about real quick how to organize your images and get them ready and onto the website. So we're going to discuss a little bit about file organizations as well as creating actions and scripts inside of Photoshop to make really quick and easy work of getting your images on the website and file sized and everything's perfect for displaying your images on the web. So right now I have all my high-res photos here. They're all my TIFFs, and they're all ready to go, and they're all color corrected and all that stuff. The only thing left to do is to sharpen them and downsize them for the web. We're going to be using actions and scripts to do that and to make short work of that. So follow along and be sure to follow each step pretty carefully. I'm going to take first off, I'm going to take all my vertical images and put them in one folder. So I'm just going to create a new folder with all these images. I'm just going to title it vertical. Because this technique is really dependent on the orientation of the photo, whether it's a vertical or a horizontal. So the size is going to be different. So we're going to be creating a different action for the different orientations. Now, so I have all my vertical images in one folder and I have all my horizontal images right here. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is to decide a size that I want to make for both my horizontal and my vertical images. Now I'm just going to open this image into Photoshop and go to image size and select 72 as the resolution and probably about 1200 pixels width. Now I see that if I set the width for this horizontal image at 1200 pixels, it gives me a height of 800 pixels. So I know that I'm going to want to make my vertical images 800 pixels tall. That'll allow me to put two vertical images on a new document as a diptych, and it'll be the same size as my horizontal images. So that's the goal here, and just continue watching to find out how I do it. So I'm going to press cancel on this and close this. I'm just going to remember those two numbers, which is 1200 by 800. I'm going to hide Photoshop. I'm going to go to my vertical images and open up one of my vertical images. Just, any image will do. Now I'm going to create a new action here. If you don't know where the actions are, they're either over here with this little play button or in the windows under actions. So you can create a new action, and I'm just going to delete this one real quick, and I'll create a new folder for my actions. This folder I'm going to create a new set. It's going to be called the website. And so I'll place a couple of actions in this folder or in this set. And to create a new action, I'm just going to click on the Create New Action button. And I'll title this one Vertical for my vertical images. Okay, an action is going to record everything I do. And you can see the record button is on. And so every step that I make will be recorded from now on until I press the stop button. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is going up to the image size and changing the image size to 72 and the height to 800 because that was our number, and click OK. Alright, so that's the first step in my action. You can see that it's recorded that, and then this next step would probably be to do some kind of sharpening. And if you watched the previous tutorial about the high pass filter, or if you haven't watched it yet, we're going to be applying a high pass filter. If you press Command J to create a new layer, go up to Filter, go to Other, High Pass. This is going to sharpen our image in a really great way. Now for the web and for this size of an image, I think about 0.6, maybe 0.5, 0.6 is enough for the radius. I have this slider here, and I can move this slider, all the way to the left, but that's going to be way too much sharpness applied. So maybe around 0.6, just a very light touch on this radius slider. And then I'm going to press OK. I'm going to go to the layer blending style and change it to overlay. And I can see the sharpness. If I turn the layer on and off, I can see, oh, yep, it's much more sharper. Okay, and then the next step would be to flatten these images, or flatten these layers. And before you save it, or before you turn off the action, just go ahead and make sure that's an 8-bit file. That'll help you out in the process. And then that's pretty much all I'm going to be doing for this action. I can press stop on the action. And now I can go back to the original file here. And this is my original high-res file. And if I go to my actions, basically you can see what happens. If I click on this vertical action and I press the play button, it's going to do everything I just did really quickly. And so you can kind of see how this can be very helpful. Now I'm just going to close this image and I'm not going to save it. I'm going to go to File and go down to Scripts, Image Processor. This is a script, and it's going to tell you're going to tell Photoshop to basically open up a folder and apply that action to all the images in that folder. And you can just press the Run button and go grab a cup of coffee, and all your images will be done. All the images that are in that folder will be done, and that action, whatever that action was, will be applied. So there's 4 steps to the scripts. First is to select the folder you want the script to be applied to, and we're going to want it to be applied for these vertical images. And then click Open, and then step number 2 is to tell it where you want to save the new images that it creates. You just click Save in the same location. It's going to create a new folder. It's going to title it JPEG, and those images will be in there. And the 3, the file type. Now you could save PSDs and TIFFs, but for the web we're just going to be using JPEGs, and the quality set it to 12. The 4th one is to tell it what action you want it to run, and so we created a set or a folder, and it's called website, and in that folder there's an action called vertical. Now when I press run, it's going to apply this vertical action and save them as a JPEG to all those images in that vertical folder that we created. So then press 1. If I had a lot of images, it might take like 20 minutes or something like that. If you had like 1,000 images, and you could really go grab dinner, come back, and Photoshop does all the work for you. So it's a really cool way of saving your images, a really cool way of getting everything exactly the same. When you're talking about uploading images to a website and you want all the same file size. I'll hide Photoshop and you can see what I mean. There's my new folder titled JPEG, and all of my images in that folder are sized exactly the same, 800 pixels high, and there we go. All my images are exactly the same. Really, really cool. They all have the high pass filter, so they're all sharpened for the web. And I really didn't do anything except do it one time for one image, and it applies it for all the other images automatically. So I'm going to do the same thing for the horizontal image. I'm going to open up my horizontal image, open it into the Photoshop. This time I'm going to go and create a new action. So create a new action and title it horizontal. Press record, and now do the same thing I did for my vertical images, only this time I'm going to change the size to 72 at 1200 on the width, and you can see our height is 800, so our vertical images are going to be exactly the same height as our horizontal images. Click OK. I'm going to apply the high pass filter, so create a new layer, go up to Filter, Other, High Pass Filter, and 0.6 is what I set it at. That's great. I'll use the same as I did for my vertical images. Go over to the blending mode and click OK, Overlay. Flatten the image. Go up and make sure that it's an 8-bit, which it is, and then click Stop. I'll be closing this image and not saving it, going to the scripts, to the image processor, selecting the folder that my images are in, which are the high-res folder. That's where all my horizontals are in. Click Open, save in same location, JPEG, quality 12, run action, only this time instead of vertical, and select horizontal. and then run, and Photoshop will do its magic. Apply that to all the horizontal images in a few seconds, and it should be finished right about now. I can hide it. I can see that there's a new folder with all my horizontal images, and they're all file size 1200 to 800, 1200 by 800. Really great. So now I have all my images sized and ready, and what it took me maybe 5 minutes to do it. So I'm going to title this folder Low Res, because that's the ones for my website. I'm going to move that folder over to here, and I'm just going to include those horizontal images into the low res folder. I can delete this. I can delete this old folder, and I can move the low res over to my website folder. So now I have high res, which I can save for future use. You know, if I want to create the gallery again, or maybe add some images, I can store all my high res images in one place, and I have all my low reses that are really nice and sharpened for the website. Okay, now I'm going to want to place these vertical images on a diptych so they're the same size as my horizontal images. I'm just going to see what I'm doing here by clicking on that view mode, and I can choose my photos now. And I think the two first vertical images I'm going to use are these two right here. I'm just going to open them up into Photoshop and create a new document. I'm going to press Command N, and I'm going to make this new document 1200 pixels wide by 800 pixels high at 72 dpi or ppi, and make my background contents white, because that's the color of my website. It's going to be, the background of the website is going to be white, so I want the background of this document to be white as well. And I made it this size because these are the size of my horizontal images, and remember, I want my photos to not stretch when I'm uploading them to the website. I don't want some photos to be bigger than the others. I want them to all be the same size. So I'm going to click OK, and this is going to create that new blank document. I'm going to use my ruler tool, and I'm going to move draw a line with the ruler at halfway in between the document, which is 600 pixels. And then I'm going to give myself probably about 40 pixels of a space between the two images. So I'm going to draw two more lines right here. And now I can drag these photos over using the Move tool on the toolbar, or V on your keyboard. I'm going to click and drag the photo over, and then I'm going to press Shift and let go of the mouse, and that'll center my image directly in the document, and it'll make it really easy to then move it over to the line, and it'll just snap against this line, which is really great. So I have that image on my new document. I can close it now. I can go to the next image, and I can click, drag it over to the new document, press Shift, and let go of the mouse. Now it looks like maybe I'll want this image actually on the right hand side, so I'll just take that other image, move it over, and there we go, and I'll just move that over here, and so you can see that the two images fit nicely on this new document as diptych. And now I'm going to save this as I would normally, and go Save for Web, and just put the quality up to 100%, and we have a new document. It's at 745K. You know, maybe actually I'll take the quality slider and move it down to get me somewhere around 500K. Yep, there we go. 535 is fine at 89 quality. Now your photos might be different, so just move that slider around until you see somewhere around 500K. And then click Save, and save it in my low res folder, and I'll probably just title this SB underscore vert underscore 01. And just save that, and there we go. Now, the next thing to do is just to take these two layers and delete them. We don't need them anymore. I'll close that other photo. I'll go hide in Photoshop, and I'll choose two more vertical photos to place as a diptych. Maybe I'll place these two together. Open those two up and do the same process over again. Click, drag it to the new document, press Shift, let go of the mouse, move it over to that line, close the photo, click and drag the new photo over, press shift, drag it over and align it, and there we go. Now I can save this document, go save for web, get it to somewhere around 561 is fine. Okay, so I don't really need to change the quality slider. I can click save it in that same folder. I can click on here, it'll copy the name, and now I can just replace the number. So it's SVVert2 and save. And I can delete these layers and move on to the next photos. Alright, I'm going to pause the video now, so I'll come back and I'll have all my verticals in a diptych. Okay, so now we have all our diptychs made, and you can see that they're all exactly the same. All the photos are in the same exact spot for the diptychs, and they also line up exactly the same with the horizontal images, so my box isn't getting bigger or smaller, which is really nice, and this will display really nicely on the website. Alright, so I'm going to close this and we'll get started placing them on the web. In the next video I'll show you all about the website. Have a good day.